afternoon, all. Camelback Trading.org coming to you this Friday. I almost said Friday. Wednesday afternoon. I wish it was Friday. January 10th. We're looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and NQ. So, tough day. I think I saw the market well, even though I didn't expect some things to happen, but I did not trade it well. Ended up losing money on the day. But I think I saw it well and didn't get involved when I should and got involved when I shouldn't. But first, let's go over what's going on. We have CPI tomorrow morning, right? So righty ends with an afternoon pullback low, a 10-wide POC, and they are in a 6-day, 6-day balance, okay, on the daily. NQ ends with an afternoon pullback in H, and that's it. They did fill their gap from last week, so that gap is filled. They're up in the daily, still balanced on the weekly. ES and SPY go out with just an afternoon pullback in H, up on the daily, and balance on the weekly. SPY got within 20 cents of their yearly high from last year and the weekly high. ES still about a point and change away from it. Not a point and change. A little, 10 points away from that. Now, we tried to go trend again to the upside. Didn't hold it. We had a couple sets, so that's only 1 out of 6 trading days we have held trend to the upside. Okay, in ES. I'm calling the daily up. The weekly, like we said, bumped their head against the weekly balance. We did get the yearly high now in the regular trading hours. Right? We took out 28, which was the overnight yearly high from last week. Our all-time high is still in the overnight. It's still poor, as is our regular trading hour all-time high poor. So something tells me if the market is okay with this silly another number tomorrow, we can go get that. If it's not okay with it, well, then we're going to fail again at this balance high on the weekly. I'm not going to go over all my trades. Some of what I did, where I got hurt in B period in NQ because they came down, took out the overnight low, and one time frame down. So when they went up, I thought it would be a good risk reward against both the opening and the 144 at that point to short it. Well, it didn't matter. They blew through that and took me along for it, which didn't help. Okay, so that was one. Then I missed the afternoon pullback in H and NQ. ES at the time, wasn't looking for it because the POC was there, so I wasn't sure if point of control was going to stay there or not. But NQ wasn't. Not at that time. It is now, the POC. So that would have been a good risk reward long. Where I missed the trade big time was in I period. Now again, I'm in bigger increments. But once this market got rejected below G's low, we had a decent sell tail in H. And if I put it in ones, you would see it, right, in NQ. Well, they just Pac-Maned it. And they had misfilmed the gap by like 6 points in H period. I'm like, they're going to go fill that gap. But I didn't take any advantage of it. Did not get long to go do that. What I did do was short the gap fill. Now, I'm not upset that I shorted it, even though it didn't work and I lost on that. I'm more ticked off, or big time ticked off, I didn't take the long to go get that gap. Because clearly told, and again, my room is not about my trading. It's not about anybody's trading in the room. It's about educating and informing people what the market's doing, okay, and why. So once H even though they got close to the gap fill in H initially, and then ripped lower, once that got rejected and I started, and I couldn't even get down to D's high to get a wider POC or back to C's high, I told the room, they're going to Pac-Man this. And they're going to finally get the gap. And they did. And then to make matters worse, I don't take the long and I take the short and got hurt on that. So that's what frustrated me. Then also up here, I was like, yep, we're trend, but we're also at a balance high. NQ wasn't that close to the balance high, but I didn't think NQ was going to go ripping. They have a big price vacuum inside it of this day. I didn't think they'd go ripping inside of it. Well, they did a good job until they pulled back, because the gap fill was 38 and change, and they got up to 82 and change. So I never expect them to go another 40, 50 points to the upside. But that's respecting what short-term players can do, right? They did, but they gave it all back also. So eventually, we had late majority and lagged buyers who got flushed out, and we took back the trend day. Trying to think what other trades I took. Let me see. ES in C period, I was long to get the IB high. Now, we never got it at that point, but I made money on that. D period, I had a good D period in ES and in NQ. Bought both of them because when they pulled back, we had already had the overnight high. All the volume was up here. Value was overlapping a higher. I thought that was a good risk reward long in ES and NQ above the opening. Now, NQ was a little less confidence because they had the overnight low at that point and not the overnight high, even though they had the IB high. But both of those worked out nicely. So, I mean, I was back and forth all day, but unfortunately, the short and B period was a pretty decent one. So, I had a battle all day and still ended red on the day. I'm not going to go over all the rest of them. But, again, saw the market well, but didn't execute well. As far as our destinations, well, today we have today's high of 477.45 in SPY. Then 477.55 is last year's high, okay? For the downside, we have our afternoon pullback, 474.81, and then today's low, 473.87. And then in ES, today's high is 28.50. They have another high at 35 above that. Our afternoon pullback low is 0175, and today's low is 92 and a quarter, and I'm carrying forward the 18 wide overnight POC of 90.50. And then on the chart, so our monthly is up, one time framing up for 3 months. Still haven't hit an all-time high in SPY, but we have an AES, even though it's poor. Weekly is balance. Now, remember I said, forget this week. The previous week I said I was going to count this week as the balance. Well, now I said, since we took out this past week's high pretty good, now it's just a 4-week balance to me. So last week is the bottom of it, and December 25th week, Christmas week, is the high of it. So we're trying to come out of the balance. We'll see if the CPI is going to be a catalyst or they're going to smack them down. So they're balanced, and the daily I now have officially up on the daily, one time framing up 3 days. Remember, we treated this as an inside day, which ended up paying pretty nicely. Again, the volume, it is better than yesterday, so that's good. But not, it's 66 million right now. Yesterday's was 60, just under 66. So it's not going to be the lightest volume of the day, but the volume, pretty yucky. And we had the same exact range as yesterday, $3.58. Pretty hard to do. Hope you had a good day trading. Thanks for the likes and subscribing to this channel. Enjoy your evening. And we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.